It's Absolutely Auburn, a place where we'll talk about all things Auburn, Maine, because we're in the middle of it all. The City of Auburn's communications team is dedicated to helping you connect with city government and learn everything you need to know about Auburn, our city, our people, our events, and our community. Welcome to Absolutely Auburn.
Hey everyone, this is our 10th episode of Absolutely Auburn. We're excited to talk about all things Auburn Public Library. It is truly a community treasure and an amazing historic building. And I don't know if you knew this, but the library has been around since 1890. So listen and hear from Haley and Brandon with the library and learn about all the things that the library has to offer. Welcome back to Absolutely Auburn. I'm your host, Jenn Bonig, and joining me as always in the studio is our fabulous producer, Abby Warden.
Happy to be here, Jen.
Thanks, Abby. Also joining us today in the studio are Haley Warden, the Director of Engagement, and Brandon Dyer, the Children's Manager with the Auburn Public Library. Welcome.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We're so excited the library is here. Especially Abby. Abby told me she was very excited that the library, we were going to talk to our library friends because...
Yes, my parents are both librarians. They actually met. They met in college and went to library school together. I should add that. It's a cute, romantic love story of books.
That's like a good romance novel right there.
Right?
So yeah, I'm a big library head. As well as Liz, our boss, the whole communications department. Yes. We're big fans of the library.
That's so awesome. And now I have to ask: do you are you a user? Do you go and check out books?
I live in Poland, so I have my Ricker library card, which is the Poland one, and I know that the Auburn Public Library is part of the what's it called, interlibrary loan program. Borrowing. Yes, okay, yeah. There you go. So I actually haven't taken one at the Auburn Public Library yet, but it's I check the MLIS to see where the books are. Yes. And so I'm sure I'll pick one up at Auburn soon.
Awesome.
I know we've joked that we're going to start a book club of sorts because Liz enjoys reading. Rita in the city manager's office enjoys reading, and Rita and I have swapped some books back and forth.
Oh, excellent.
So, so yeah, we could start our own staff book club. I think
you should. We have a staff book club,
right?
Also.
See,
we're doing a horror book club.
Yes,
fun.
And then also
I like that.
Auburn Public Library does 2 public book clubs for adults as well. So if you're looking for a book club, visit our site.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have to be could a Poland resident join the Auburn Public Book Club as an example?
I love that you asked that because I always have to tell families anyone can come to our program no matter where you're from.
Yeah.
And we'll discuss a little bit more about that in the podcast. But yes, a lot of people think I'm in Auburn, I can only go to Auburn. No, you can go to Lewiston's programs or Auburn programs. If you're in Norway or Poland, you can come anytime.
Right, because libraries are a place of learning for everyone.
Yep.
That's kind of how libraries started. And I didn't realize until I started pulling together notes for this podcast that the Auburn Public Library actually started in 1890.
Yeah.
Wow, that is cool.
Right?
Long time.
Officially chartered as a working library in 1890. So it's been around for 133 years. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And it still has the original building and it just has extensions. So you can see how old the building is when you come visit us.
Yeah. And I love coming to the library for that very reason, the history, and just how nicely it's all kind of interwoven with the new extensions. It really does. It's just an awesome place. Yeah. It really is.
And when I first got hired there, they asked what do you know about the Auburn Public Library? And I said, I'm blown away by the Gothic architect that the creator did. And I love how when they expanded it, they kept that same design. I think it just looks beautiful when you drive by.
It's very seamless.
It's one of my favorite buildings in Auburn for sure.
Yeah. So we just love the library, obviously. But now we'll dive into some other pressing matters and questions. And Haley, as the Director of Engagement, can you share a little more about what you do as the Director of Engagement and what a typical workday looks like for you?
Of course. As a lot of people who have been guests on the show have said previously, no day looks the same. My days are very varied. I spend a lot of time handling all of our grants. So I submit grant applications on behalf of the library to get more funding for, programs or capital improvements. I also work with the subcommittee of our board of trustees on fundraising. So we usually do an annual fundraiser every year. Some people know we've been doing this book around town. This year it's going to look a little different. We're going to do 4 different events quarterly instead of one massive event, because who doesn't want to, celebrate and fundraise for the library? Yeah, exactly. I also handle some of the social media and marketing. I work a lot with Brandon's children's department, and I do website updates. I handle all of the incoming donations from all of our amazing community members who donate to the library and send out our thank yous. And I also, my favorite part of the job is the community partner aspect, like, coming to National Night Out or the PAL Center and doing the backpack giveaways. We handed out books one year at Walton at their trunk or treat. Just stuff like that. It's so fun.
Yeah. Well, and I know you've come and done story time at some of our events as well.
Yeah. So that's pretty much my day.
And what about you, Brandon, as the children's manager? What does a typical workday look like for you?
Like Haley said, it's every day is different, but overall, I open the department and I observe my team. That is amazing. And then I do some book orders. I do a lot of outreach at daycares like the Y, Early Promise, but also I reach out to the schools to see if there's anything that the public can help with the school-based setting, as well as I create programs and I really try to make them fun and interactive so families can come in. And then as well as I just assist the daily needs of our customers that come in. So usually I will greet them and then see if they need help, and I sometimes also eavesdrop on their conversations to see if I can help them, if not. And usually they are very accepting of me helping them out. And then I just love giving them some reader advisories about like, oh, what books do you like? And this is going to be a great one to use. So I just love my job.
Now, how many people are on the children's team?
It's me, and then I have four other staff members I oversee, and we work really well together to get a lot of great programs out.
Wow. Okay.
That's awesome. Four children's librarians, I feel like is good for, I know libraries are often, understaffed. So I'm happy to hear that you guys have a pretty big staff for a library.
That's awesome. And I know we kind of touched on this a little bit about the architecture. There's the architecture itself is gorgeous. There's also artwork. We've got I shouldn't say lots of staff, but there are staff in the building. And then my favorite part when I've come to the library too are the furry friends. That are in the library as well. I am a crazy cat lady, my husband would say.
We all are at the library.
Because I have 5 at home.
I have 3 right now.
Oh my God, I love it.
I know you have cats in the library, but you also have dogs that'll come in too. Sometimes you can read to a dog, which I was like, oh my gosh. I've been missing that my whole life.
The perfect audience.
Right. They don't talk back. They'll just lay down and listen.
They're so innocent.
Yeah. Right. I was like, oh, I love that idea. And especially for kids who, my son has never been an avid reader, but I think when he was younger, he probably might have been more apt to try to read if he could have read to the dog or the cat or I don't know, a stuffed animal even, I guess. Right. Yeah. So tell me more about the furry friends before I forget.
That's okay. No, I love when we talk about furry friends. So yes, we do have 3 therapy dogs. One of them only comes during the summertime, then they go to Florida. But our regular ones are Michael and Mocha. Mocha is a English Shepherd. So they come every Thursday from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. and you can call the children's room to make a 15-minute appointment to read to the dog. And then we have Meadow and Renee. They come on Saturdays, and Meadow is a Australian Shepherd who's very gorgeous. Both of them are, but Meadow is just so cute. But as I said, you can call and make a 15-minute appointment. And a lot of people are like, well, do I have to use the library books? I'm like, nope. Well, you could if you want, but if you have a favorite book at home, just bring it in. And then when it's your appointment, you can go and read to them. And I've had families as well say, well, my child's really nervous about dogs. And I said, well, this is a great time to get them used to dogs. Cause I'm like, these dogs are very innocent, but also very caring and calm, gentle.
And I'm sure they're trained, right?
Yeah, they're definitely trained. And to become one, you have to show us the certification that you have had the proper training. So it's not like we're taking a random dog off the street and stuff. But yeah, no, so they're amazing. But yeah, just keep an eye out. It's the best. I love it. When they come, I just give them a big hug and pat them, and all the people love them. So, yeah.
And the cats, don't they? There's like a resident cat, or how does that program work?
Well, so we started the Cats in the Library program during COVID, and it was really more to boost staff morale and have, a little fuzzy friend to love on. And it has just snowballed since then. We're on our 49th cat.
Wow, I didn't know it was that many. That's awesome.
It's that many. And we did have a resident cat, and the director just fell in love, and Sunny ended up going home with our library director, Mamie, and is living a happy life there also.
Yes, nice. He is.
Yeah, I also adopted one of the cats. Granite has come home to live with me. Like, you just get attached to them.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
so
I'm
cute.
sure.
And they have just amazing personalities, because Granite, I remember, would eat Doritos, and it was hilarious that day that we saw him eat Doritos.
Yes, like, don't leave a snack on your desk, because he was going to steal it. Yes.
And now these cats are adoptable through the Humane Society, correct?
Yes. Right now we have Rosie. She is a senior cat. She's been with us since October. So we're really hoping somebody will come in and want to take her home. She's such a sweetheart. She's like, I want to sit in your lap and I want you to pet me and just love on me. She's very sweet.
They stay in a certain part of the library, right?
Yes. Yeah. So that was a huge consideration if there was any allergies. And so they're kept on the second floor in the offices of our teen and adult services managers. And so if you want to go in and see the cat, you just go to the desk and somebody will take you in there so you can see them. And there has been a couple times where the cat has gotten out in the middle of the night and set the alarm off. That happened recently because the door didn't get shut all the way.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
The cat wanted to explore and read. It was nighttime.
Cats are cats no matter where they're living.
Yeah. So when is the library open? Are there set standard hours? I'm sure things might fluctuate with holidays, but
of course. Yeah. So we're open Monday through Saturday. We open at 9 a.m. All of those days. Mondays we close at 7. Tuesday through Friday we close at 6. And on Saturdays we're closing at 5. And we are closing early before Christmas on the 23rd, and we'll close early on New Year's Eve. All of that's on our website also.
And I know. Brandon, you said earlier, anyone can come to the library, so you don't have to be an Auburn resident. So as Abby mentioned, she's a Poland resident. I'm a Mechanic Falls resident. So if we wanted to, I know we can come to the programming, but what if we wanted to get a library card as an outside non-city resident?
Oh, no, that's good to know, because I know a lot of people are probably like, I need to know this. So if you're a non-resident customer, like if you don't live in Lewiston, Auburn, or Minot, and you're not part of the reciprocal borrowing, you'll just have to come in, go to the front, and have a form of your identification and a piece of mail that shows where you live. And then you will have an option to decide how long you want to have your card active for. So if you want a Auburn Public Library card for 3 months, it's going to be $15. For 6 months, it's going to be $30. And then for a whole year, it's going to be $60. Yep.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great, the tip that I said at the top of the show is if you have a local library card, I have a Poland library card, I can use it at the Auburn Public Library as well.
And if you're from a different town and you want to know, definitely just call the library that you want to visit and ask if they are part of the reciprocal borrowing. And usually they'll have a paper that has all the libraries that do reciprocal borrowing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I know at one point when my kids were younger, I was more active with the Mechanic Falls Library. And I think there was, I guess at one point, a reciprocal relationship there.
I know during the pandemic, it was really, a lot of people bought in, but I think after that, some of them kind of just decided not to participate anymore. So that's why we just say, please call the library that you're going to visit and see if your library card can be used at that location.
Sure. Yeah.
But even still, it's, a nominal fee, I would think, to be able to access all of the things that...
Yeah, when you think about really what you get with a library card, not to sound like we're marketing for the library, but it's more than just, access to the book. I know, film, TV, a lot. There are so many things you get with a library card.
I was about to say that. That was what I was going to say. Like, you get access to our ebook collection, our audiobook collection on Cloud Library. When you do sign up with us, you are now part of the reciprocal borrowing. So if there's a book that we don't have, you can request it on Minerva, and then a library that has that book will send it to Auburn and we'll call you or email you, and then you can come pick it up. So you have more access to resources by joining a library that is part of reciprocal borrowing.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that's one point of a lot of pride for us at APL is the sheer number of stuff that's borrowed from other libraries from our personal collection. Yeah.
I get a bunch of juvenile books every morning that our lovely staff member Dawn does. And I help her sometimes because there's just so many requests from other libraries wanting our materials. So it's amazing.
Yeah, I think, especially in a state like Maine, I think it's great that our libraries can work together like that because we have a lot of libraries in Maine, I think, for the size of our state, but they're all pretty small. So they do rely on bigger libraries like Auburn to run that program.
It's definitely different because I did my graduate degree in library science online through Rutgers University. And I had all different students from different states. And a lot of states don't do reciprocal borrowing. So it's like you live in your own town and whatever they offer is what it is. So when I mentioned the reciprocal borrowing that Maine does, a lot of the students were like, wow, I wish my state did something like that. And I think it's probably growing through the country, but I just know that Maine is definitely a great one that has reciprocal borrowing.
Which is nice because it is important with, first of all, we are a large state.
Yes.
We're very spread out. There's some very rural pockets. And like I said, libraries were started to create learning opportunities for everyone. And the best way to do that is to be able, I would think, to share those materials. Especially when, you would tend to think larger towns and cities are going to have probably a larger budget than a very small community library is going to have with a town that might only have 1,000 people. So that reciprocal borrowing is huge, super important. And it's sad that not everyone does that.
But go Maine.
Go Maine. Exactly. And I'm hoping go other states too that do
this.
Yes,
we want to bring it to the other states too. Yes.
Share and be kind. It's what it's all about. So I know, Brandon, there are lots of activities and opportunities that you talked with, reading with Mocha and Meadow and some other things, but what other, I guess, first of all, where would I even go to find a list of activities for, I'm sure whether it's children, teens, adults, where would I find a list of activities? And then how would I sign up, or how do I express interest? Do I have to sign up?
No, that's a good question. Definitely. To find what programs we offer at the Auburn Public Library, especially in the children's or teens or adults, if you go onto our website, our amazing new website that we just got last year, if you go to the event tab, and it'll go down to different ages and different departments. If you click on kids, it will bring you to our event calendar, and there you'll see events happening that day and throughout the month. And usually, my amazing team that I have, we do a lot of promotion, meaning that we get our programs out at least a month or two in advance so you can see what's coming out. And then usually, if it is required to register, it will say register on the description, but also it will say open. So that will indicate that the program is meant to be registered.
Okay.
And then I love what the website does because it will tell you what ages are appropriate for that program. So we do have a lot of different variety of programs for different ages, from toddlers to preschool to just elementary school to pre-tweens. So we just always genreify that in the way to help families find out which programs they want to bring their kids to. As well as, if you are not techie, like going on the website, if you come into the children's room, we always have, like, Haley makes these amazing kids program calendars, so you can come in and grab it and you can see what we offer that month. And sometimes usually we'll have 2 months already ready for you, or if not, you'll get the current one. But yeah, that's another way if you're not really much into technology or not knowing how to use the computer or something.
Or even, if someone doesn't have a computer at home, just being able to grab that is really nice.
Yeah.
We also have a weekly electronic newsletter that you can sign up to be on the mailing list, and it will highlight what's coming in the week ahead. And then at the end of the month, I send out one that's like a preview of all the programs for the following month.
Yes, I get those emails, and they're great because then, like you said, you get to see what's coming up, and if you want to sign up for something. And now I'm sure, based on the seasons and the time of year and like school vacations and things, Brandon, I'm sure that you and your team probably plan some activities and programming around some of that, probably seasonality, or if the kids are going to be out of school for the week, you might see more of them come into the library than usual. So how do you and your team kind of plan that and tackle that when you're looking at making opportunities?
Yes, we do. So I love when me and my team sit down. I always try to see what creative flow they want to bring to the table. We did a homeschool Thursday program where both team members picked a subject that we found out that the homeschool community is having a difficult time finding resources or just don't know where to go. So each one picked a different subject. So one picked art, another one just picked nonfiction story time. So they learned like STEM or biographies. And then I did a main unit, and then we did a social hour. So we get that information from talking with our customers and joining Facebook pages and seeing what I'm noticing that libraries are missing or what we can bring to them to get other community members in that are from Auburn, from Lewiston, from Poland, anywhere. And then as well as when spring break comes or fall break or any vacation, I really try to get entertainers like musicians, puppeteers, scientists to come in so that would get kids to want to learn more or if it's just interesting. As well as I ask kids what they want. I have multiple times when I started working there, I'm like, what would you want to see come to the library? And a lot of kids are like, Pokemon Club. And I'm like, well, I finally got it. It's coming in January. I have a Pokemon Club. As well as I asked other things to parents, like, what do you think the library could bring? And one of them was, I feel like kids are not getting the proper life skills of cooking. So we, for a year now, have done a Kids Can Cook majority of every month. And
that's fun.
It's great because we're teaching kids how to portion, how to measure, how to stir. And these are all just local ingredients that you could probably get at stores or in their cupboard. But I love that they can leave having at least some food in their stomach because we don't know what
they're going
to get at home. But it's a great one for families to bond over. So I love that one. But as I said, like I just love to hear what kids want, what parents want, and just look online and see what other libraries are doing, and as well as going on Facebook pages that are in our local community and see what we can bring to the table.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's so important too, because, I think your perception at libraries, books.
Yeah.
But it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
There's so many other things that are going on. I know, Abby, you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. I noticed when I was exploring the library page, there's a Create Media Lab space.
Yeah.
And there's also almost like, workroom, classroom type space that you could reserve as well.
Rooms. You can reserve our conference room. You can use our larger Androscoggin community room if you're having a large event. There's a lot of rooms you can use.
And so that Create Media Lab allows you access to laptop.
It actually has 3 new iMacs, and it has software like GarageBand, Photo Booth, iMovie, that kind of stuff. There is a green screen with like the big boom lighting. We have a record player in there that connects to the computer, microphones, large format printer. There's all kinds of stuff. I actually used it when we did our website redesign. That's where I took, on the staff page, you can see everybody and the trustees. Yes. I took all of those photos in that media lab.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and then I used the Photoshop program to make them look pretty.
Yeah. That's so cool. See, like, I would have never thought, I guess, to go to my library for something like that, especially if, kids have an interest in making a movie, which, I mean, I know cell phones now do virtually everything that you could possibly imagine. But still, when you want access to some other equipment or you're exploring maybe making an investment in equipment, but you don't really know what you want or need, you could come to the library, try some things out and see what's going to work for you.
Yeah.
Which is so nice.
No, that's definitely, I could imagine when I was a kid, my brother and I were obsessed with like filming our own home movies, but we didn't really know what we were doing and didn't have access to software. So I think like even, kids still have interests like that for sure, or adults. Yeah. So having access to that would be really cool. So if you wanted to use that room, is it a reservation type thing or how does that work?
I think
you can call our reference desk on the second floor and they can book that out. Cool. And I know one that like my son is in a Dungeons and Dragons. He does the Dungeons and Dragons club at the library and one at home with his friends, and they are talking about coming to the library to use the 3D printer because they made their characters and they want to make little figurines. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Just come do that here.
Wow. So you can just go use a 3D printer at the Auburn Public Library.
Yep, it's right outside of the media lab.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that is so cool.
It is very.
I love, a community resource that is like such a great thing about.
Yes,
and while you're there, you can say hi to Rosie because she's right next to you.
And the cat is right there also. And right next to the cat, talking about trying things out, is we also have our library of things, and I think it's kind of back against that wall there, so a lot of people don't see it. But I believe we have over 32 items that you can check out, and they're like a ukulele, there's 2 telescopes, we have a ton of do-it-yourself like sewing, knitting, crochet, coloring books. We have a Roku stick.
Oh, cool.
We have hotspots that you can borrow. It's all kinds of stuff, like toolboxes in there.
I would say also our system director got CD players because we have a good CD collection, and we are noticing a lot of people don't have CD.
Nobody has a way to play them, right?
Yeah. So we saw a need, and I guess our system director bought 2 CD players. I think it's so cute because I'm like, yes, 90s kids will know this.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. And actually, one thing that I didn't know that we had that I used the other day is we have a VCR machine that hooks up to your laptop. So you can transfer all of your old VHS home movies. I did 10 of them right into my Microsoft OneDrive. And now I can access them from my cell phone.
No way.
Yeah, it was amazing. So they're saved on my laptop. And because I have the OneDrive app on my phone, I was at a softball event with my daughters, and I have an old home movie of me at 12 playing softball. And I was like, hey, look at this. It was amazing.
That's so cool. Well, it's so funny you bring that up because I've got a lot of the kids' movies that were on VHS, and I'm like, what the heck am I going to do with these? What do I do with this? I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even bother with DVDs anymore because now everything is streaming, right? And you just, although I think our PlayStation will play DVDs, but.
So I know this is a kind of a nitty gritty. Well, nitty gritty is not the right word, but if you don't know the answer, no worries. But so if someone wanted to check out the CD player or something, are there costs associated with those things?
Nope, completely free.
Completely free for that.
And same thing as checking out a book.
Yeah, checking out a book. As long as you have your library card.
Well, if you have a library card, but the only thing that they will charge is if you check out CDs or movies or TV shows from the front, it's $1 rental for each item that you have. But if you come in the children's room, my CDs and DVDs are free, so you don't have to worry about having to pay. So I've had families like, I need to find Finding Nemo, but I don't have enough money. And I'm like, well, all the videos I have right here are free, so you can check out as many as you want. Well, the max for a library card is 50 books or 50 items on a card. So just in case.
50 items?
Yes.
Lord. You'd have to bring a whole truck.
Yes.
I know. Yeah. Back up the car, load it up.
Oh, when I tell kids that, they're like, oh, I can have 50. I'm like, well, that's a lot of responsibilities right there.
I'm not encouraging you to take 50, but you could.
Yes. And I have some parents like, cut it off. Don't say it.
Parents are like, don't tell them.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I think that's, it's good to know that if you do check out a CD, there's still some cost associated, but even $1 for something like that is very affordable and helps, it's just helps keep the library up with those kinds of costs. I know.
And since we were talking about Reciprocal Barn, you can check out DVDs and movies from other libraries that we don't provide. So if you're looking for the newest TV show that just came out on CD, you can probably find it in Minerva, and if we don't have it, you can request it from another library to watch those TV shows.
Yeah, it occurred to me the other day, there was a show, I don't remember what it was, but I wanted to binge the newest season. I'm like, oh, it's like $35 on Amazon, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I should check the library. It's only $1.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and sometimes I know I've sometimes wait lists for the new items is a bit long, but then once you get it, you're like, I'm getting this for free. or so $1. It's one of those things where I just feel so proud.
I'm so thrifty.
And I know I brought up the card, but I also just wanted to highlight that when you come and you check out books for us, we don't do late fees anymore. So you don't have to feel like, oh no, I'm over a week. I have to pay $10 of late fees. We do not do late fees anymore. The only time we'll ever charge you is if you never bring the book back in a certain time period. And then we will send you a bill. And if that scares you and you bring it back, it will be wiped from your account. So we do not do late fees anymore. So that helps customers want to come back and check out books and not feel like I did something wrong. I love that we got rid of that.
Yeah. Well, and I know for me, when I was taking books out from the library more, it would be like, okay, the pressure is on. Like I have to read this in like 2 weeks. And what if I don't? And then what if I forget to go back? And now I'm getting costs. And then I would feel like, oh gosh, I'm on the naughty list now. And,
And I love that you brought up like, oh my God, I only have 2 weeks to finish all these 25 books or something. Right. We upgraded it to now 3 weeks. So you have an extra week to read your books. But as another great thing is that you can renew your books one time with us. So you can have that book for like 3 weeks if there's no hold. So that's another great thing about the library as well.
That's nice. Because there'd be times where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get it done and finished in time.
I've seen getting rid of fines has been a trend. I think nationwide. A lot of libraries are doing it.
It's helped a lot.
I think obviously we still want to remind people that there's a reason there's a due date, but I think it just takes away from the guilt that people can feel, whether or the fear about incurring any costs. Because sometimes, you just can't make it to the library that day, and then it's going to be late and it stresses you out. So it's just taking that away.
I know. I had this older woman come in and she's like, I left my books. I didn't return it in like a week. And she started giving me dimes. And then before I could say anything, I was like, we don't do late fees. And she's like, you don't? I'm like, nope, we don't do late fees anymore. So you're fine. And she's like, when did this happen? And I'm like, a good while ago. So I'm happy. And she's like, thank you so much. She was grateful. So I love it.
Yeah.
So I know in order to keep costs down for customers and library patrons, I know you mentioned part of your job is doing some fundraising and some grant writing. So if people want to support the library, whether they want to come in and maybe volunteer in some way, or they want to give some financial support to help folks, have a fund if people struggle to pay fees for something, can you take it out of a pot of money? I guess, how would I get involved with the library in that way?
Very, very easy. It is on our website at the top right-hand side. It says donate. And that will take you to our page that has in ways that you can volunteer if it's coming into the library, if it's, maybe you have some books or something that you want to donate to our bookstore to have us sell. It's very simple. It's all right there. There you can donate online. You can send in a check. You can drop it off at the front desk. And we make it as easy as possible to get help.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, it's good to know that you could take books for a book sale, because my husband just scolded me that I need to get rid of the stack of books next to my nightstand. It's about as tall as my nightstand now.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah. So I will probably bring some books by.
Yeah. And I would say our bookstore's open every Saturday from 9:30 to 1. And sometimes we have great deals where you can fill a bag with just $4. So that's, you could fit.
We do. I think we try to do at least once a year, sometimes twice. Yep. We do the buck a bag sale, and you just bring that bag in and fill everything up.
Oh my word.
Yeah. It's fun seeing what comes in.
You're going to drop off the another stack and then come back with a bigger bag. Exactly.
And I do want to just mention on this, like when you buy books from the bookstore, some of those books are from my collection that I had to get rid of because they were just outdated or just not circulating. So we mark them off, like we mark the call number and the barcodes. So if you buy the book, don't return it back thinking it's a library book. So I just want to let everyone know that.
I've had that happen.
Yes, we have.
I have returned my daughter's school library books to the Auburn Public Library before.
Oops.
And what we do is, because I know I've had parents do that before too, and all we do is like, if it's a Auburn school, I'm very well known with the librarian, so I will call and say, hey, there's a student dropped off a book. Do you want me to deliver it to your school or come pick it up? But if it's from a different town, we usually have a great coworker named Kim, and she does the interlibrary loan thing. So she'll just reach out to the library and like, can we just send it through the van, or do you want to come and pick it up? So it's okay. If it happens, it's not the end of the world.
So if you're a very busy, stressed out parent and you deliver it to the wrong library, don't worry.
That is that's awesome. That's so nice. Now, we've talked about lots of different things. But Haley, I'll start with you first. What would you say is the most interesting part of your job?
I think for me, the most interesting part of the job is getting to work with the other local nonprofits and the city and having those outreach programs and just getting to meet all the different wonderful people who are trying to make Auburn a better place. I love that.
Nice. And how about you, Brandon? What's the most interesting part of your job?
My interesting part is how much creativity I can bring to the library. Like, as I said, we did a Pokemon scavenger hunt and Pokemon party last February, and that was a big hit. We had a lot of kids come and participate. So, and I've had multiple kids saying that was the funnest program I've ever had. I love coming to the library now. So that creativity I can bring and is what I really enjoy about that. Especially, as I said, the kids can cook. And then, as I said, I just have a great team that wants to continue to bring great programs and great activities to the Auburn Public Library.
It makes me so happy to hear that the kids are saying, I love the library. You know,
I love what I do because I've had multiple kids in the community come up to me and say, hi, Mr. Dyer, if they're in school, or just Mr. Brandon. And I'm like, oh, this is why I love my job so much, is that they know me and they know that I work in the library and it's a safe place to come and enjoy the experience. So
yes, it is. I mean, it is such a community treasure and such a welcoming, safe space.
Yeah. And I'm going to just tell you this little short little scenario that happened. And Haley, you know what, I'm going to bring it up. So I started working at the Auburn Public Library in the summer of 2021. So I started in September after Labor Day. So it was my first ever bake program. That was the Halloween party that we did. And it was still during COVID. And it just meant destiny because during that, it was on a Saturday, and all of a sudden, like, all these other organizations were shutting down because of the weather. And my director's like, well, just look at the stats and see how many people have come in the past and just go by that. I'm like, okay. So I had like slime booths. I had all this stuff. I had candy. I had a dance party behind me, right? And all my team's dressed up. And I kid you not, we had like 350 people show up to that. And I was my external, I'm like, hi guys. Internal, I'm like, oh my God, this is it. And what I really loved the most was that it was my first month and I loved the community. So communities were bringing candy, glue, contact solution, because I was running out of materials because I did not expect that much. But that was my first time seeing how Auburn is just a big family that will support you no matter what. And that seeing the families there really made me happy to work at this location. Yeah. So, but I just had to say that because I was it was pretty amazing. Scared, but it was great seeing the support I was getting from the community.
Yeah. I attended that. Sorry, I had to cut you off. No. I attended that event as well as a customer with my own children. And we waited in the pouring down rain and the line was like around the block. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was such a show of support for the library and Brandon's wonderful program.
Yeah.
That's great. And that kind of leads into the next question, which we ask all of our guests. And what is your favorite thing about Auburn? And it doesn't have to be work related. And I mean, I know, Brandon, you just shared that story and kind of boils down to community. But what is your favorite thing?
I would say the community, but I would also say the different departments that I work with throughout the Auburn community is like the City Hall, Early Promised, YMCA. I have so many great connections, and I just love that all of them want to support their local town, and I think that's what I really like to do. I'm happy I'm a part of it. That's the part. I'm really happy I'm part of it.
And what about you, Haley? What's your favorite thing about Auburn?
You know, my answer was very similar, having to do with community, because my kids are all involved in like every rec sports program that is offered. My husband and I coach a lot of them, and I'm on the Parks and Rec board. And just like having come from Los Angeles, where it's so massive, there's zero sense of community. And coming here and like, I'd never lived in this size of town before and never had the opportunity to experience that. And the whole reason we left LA was to get somewhere where I felt like my kids were going to grow up in a safe, nurturing environment. And we got here and I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is the right place. You know, we totally picked the right town to live in and the right state to live in. And I'm just so happy that Auburn is amazing like that.
From one LA to another.
Yeah, I did. And it's so funny because we moved here and I'm like, I hadn't heard about the Lewis and Auburn thing. And I'm like, oh, this is also LA, huh?
You're like, it's a little different.
A little bit.
That's okay. But that's so important. I know I did not live on the West Coast, but having lived out in the Midwest and some other parts of the East Coast, same thing. When my kids were younger, it was like, okay, this is my home. And it was time to come home and raise my family, like you said, in a safe, nurturing environment where I didn't have to worry if they're outside playing in the backyard. And there is a backyard to play in.
That's what I was just thinking, like, oh, there actually is a backyard.
Yeah. Right.
You can't reach out your window and touch the neighbor's house.
And it's not just like a little, not even a patch of grass, like a patch of concrete. So that's so important. So for anyone who doesn't know, you can find the Auburn Public Library online at auburnpubliclibrary.org. Yes. I almost tripped over that. All the information is there. Like I said, I was looking at your website before you all came in to do this podcast, and the programs are there. The history of the library is there. Check that out if you didn't know. That's where I found some of my fun facts. Anything that you need is on that website. It's a very nice website.
Thank you.
Good job,
Spent
Haley.
A lot of time building that thing.
I get it.
And I say before I leave, I just want to tell you a couple programs are coming. So if your kids are waiting during winter break, we are going to have our New Year's Eve party on December 30th from 11:30 to 12:15. We will have some food. We'll have some mini activities. We're going to have a little dance party with the clock striking down to noon, just for the little ones. But also we're trying to get some teens back in there. So it is open to both children's and teenagers and just families in general. And then in January, we're doing our winter reading challenge. I love doing reading challenges. So if your kids like it, come to Auburn, because I try to do one every season. With Haley's help, we are doing a space reading challenge. So if your kid really likes space or just wants to have a fun reading experience and get many prizes along the way to win a free book for my closet, that's going to happen in January. And then just a little preview of February, we're going to have a lovely lady named Emma from the Androscoggin Valley Water and Soil Conservation, and she does free quarterly STEM programs, and we're going to learn about ice and how ice affects our environment for the animals. So please check out our website about that. So yeah, she's amazing, and I love working with her. So yeah,
that's a lot of great
stuff coming up.
Yeah, some fun stuff, and it's fun to hear that you're doing a New Year's party, because of course New Year's Auburn will be coming on New Year's Eve.
We'll be closed on New Year's Eve, so I'm like, let's do it a day early.
I'll be working. Abby too. That's Sunday, December 31st from 3 to 9 here in downtown Auburn. That's fun for everyone. And we have a big surprise that'll be at the end of the event.
Oh, you can't tell us now, sad face.
I'm not going to say anything yet, because
we're excited to hear it.
We're going to wait for the big announcement,
the big reveal.
But it's going to be something I think everyone is going to enjoy, no matter how old you are.
Awesome.
So we're excited about that. And just for our listeners, we will be taking a little break. It is December. The holidays will be upon us. So you will find we'll take a little break with the podcast, but we'll be back in January, and we will be looking to introduce our community and listeners to our newly elected mayor and council members. So make sure you tune in at the start of the new year to learn more. And don't forget, library open 24/7 online, auburnpubliclibrary.org. You can get lots of information there. And thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Absolutely Auburn. You can find all things Auburn, Maine at auburnmaine.gov and goauburn.me. You can also listen to us anytime, anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio, just to name a few. The City of Auburn's communications team wants to remind you that Absolutely Auburn is the only official podcast for the City of Auburn, Maine.